Alright, it's time to look at Uncle Jago's postcard collection. Not those ones from Paris, you're not allowed to show that sort of thing on YouTube. No, these are some antique postcards I picked up at a fair a couple of years ago and only just dug out. They were printed for the Central London Railway, which is now the London Underground Central Line. Well, part of it anyway. This one, I think, is very interesting because it depicts British Museum Station. British Museum no longer exists. It was here. In 1933 it was closed and replaced with a set of platforms at Holborn. It had been one of the first CLR stations. The Central London Railway were a very publicity-conscious company, and they produced this series of postcards that dealt with all sorts of aspects of their line. They liked to promote themselves as a clean, modern, electric railway, and you can see that here. The white tiles are absolutely immaculate. The electric lighting is literally front and centre. Note also the advert for Wrench postcards. I'm guessing that wasn't in the original picture. Wrench was the company that published these. So this is a postcard advertising a station depicting an advert for the postcard. It's like Inception, except that's not what Inception means. The other two are rather livelier. They come from a series of cartoon postcards drawn by Phil May and published by Shuri's Publications. These advertise the places served by the Central London Railway, but also emphasise the egalitarian nature of the line. The idea that you could meet anyone there. The CLR charged a flat fare of twopence and advertised themselves as the Twopenny Tube. Opponents of the railway complained that this meant that anyone could end up on a train next to anyone, regardless of class. The CLR used this as a selling point. The scullery maid was equal to the lord of the manor on their trains. They produced a postcard for each of the early stations, but I've only got these two, at the moment at least. The first is for Marble Arch. Marble Arch is in the West End. It's a shopping district on the edge of fancy Mayfair. And what is going on here? We have what appears to be a young man either chatting up or unsubtly admiring a young lady. The man appears to be wearing some sort of uniform, and I note that he's carrying a riding crop and wearing spurs and riding boots. There were a lot of parks around West London, so perhaps that's where he's come from. I don't know what the uniform signifies, if anything. The woman, meanwhile, is quite fashionably dressed, and note that she has a small dog with her. Clearly fairly well off, a lady of leisure, perhaps. Maybe she's been window shopping or visiting friends. Maybe she's a servant, a maid to a wealthy family on her day off. Generally, though, we get the impression of Marble Arch as a place of luxury, even if I can't be sure exactly what it is they're getting at with these two. Chancery Lane is famous for its lawyers, and that's obviously what they're going for with the postcard for that station. The fellow on the left is obviously a lawyer. We see him reading legal documentation. The other two men are also carrying documents. I'm guessing this young chap here is meant to be some sort of trainee or clerk. He's carrying a bag. Is that meant to be a post bag? Is he on his way to the post office? There was a post office station on the Central London Railway. It's now St. Paul's. There's also a young woman in widow's weeds, presumably tending to the affairs of her late husband. Also, the young man is eyeing her up. That's the second card in a row that features a young woman getting eyed up by a chap on the platform. What are you getting at, Central London Railway? Well, I hope you enjoyed this cartoonish tale from the tube. If you did, please do click the like button and consider subscribing for more. I might look out for more of these postcards in the future. Let me know if that's something you'd like to see down in the comments. I'd like, as always, to thank my donors on Ko-fi and Patreon and here on YouTube for your generous support. You are the flat fare to my tube. And I'll see you all again very soon for another tale from the tube.